Good morning, my dear students. Today I am going to explain the story, The Enemy. Some of the paragraphs I have explained. So now we are continuing the next paragraphs. We were talking about Dr. Sadao Hoki, a Japanese surgeon by profession, and about his family and an enemy. That how an enemy reached to his doorstep in a wounded condition, and after that what was the response of Dr. Sadao Hoki about that wounded enemy. He was in deep dilemma that he should take care of the wounded enemy or he should hand him over to the Japanese police or army. That was his dilemma, and which one he opted at the end, that will have to read in this story. So I am reading the paragraphs, and according to need of reference and explanation, I will just give you accordingly. So you please see. Now he felt her hand on his arm. Now the husband and wife are just enjoying the evening time. She is refers to the wife of Dr. Sadao Hoke, and was aware of the pleasure it gave him, even though they had been married years enough to have the two children, for they had not married headlessly in America. This shows that Dr. Sadao Hoki was not an headless man. He was very sincere, thoughtful, and he was very much obliged to his culture, tradition, parents, and towards his duty and responsibility at the same time. They had finished their work at a school and had come home to Japan. And when his father had seen her, Miss Hana, the wife of Dr. Sadahake, the marriage had been arranged in the old Japanese way. This shows the height of their patriotism. Although Sadao and Hana had talked everything over beforehand, they were perfectly happy. She laid her cheek against his arm. Now the narrator is talking about the incident of the past, at the same time the happenings of the present. Miss Dr. Sada Hoki was enjoying the evening at his courtyard or it is veranda, and just looking or watching towards the seashore, and these things were happening. At the same time the narrator is talking about the past happenings, how they met and how they married. It was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mist, because of the evening time, and because of the winter season. It was misty, and they could see something black was coming out of the mist from the seashore side. It was a man, because of the attire, because of the appearance, because of the dressing. They concluded quickly that actually it is a man who is coming out from the seashore towards their house. He was flung up out of the ocean. He might be flung up, it seemed to his feet by a breaker, and because of the seashore, and the rocky area, he might have stuck in that area or flung from his uh, boat and hit himself from the rock. And because of that he is I think, according to him, that he was wounded or he was unable to move. He staggered, means the way he was moving, he was staggered just like a drunkard. A few steps, his body outlined against the mist. Now they could see some more, about the appearance of the man who was coming. His arms above his head, Then the curled mist had hid him again, and finally the man was lost in the mist, means he was not visible at all. Who is that? Hannah cried. She dropped Sadao's arm, and they both leaned over the railing of the veranda, and they were standing there, okay, and were looking, and finally they leaned, okay, bent themselves in order to have clear view, but they could not locate and find who is the man. Now they saw him again. The man was on his hands and knees. This shows that the man was crawling. Then they saw him fall on his face and lie there, and finally the man fainted. A fisherman, perhaps. This is their prediction. This is their, prediction that the man might be fisherman of the near village. Shadao said, washed from his boat. He ran quickly down the steps and behind him. Down the step means very quickly, okay, ran, and just Hannah came, her wide sleeves flying. This is their, cultural dress. A mile or two away on either side, there were fishing villages, but here was only the bare and lonely coast. The place they were living, the place their house was, situated, it was a lonely, means very less crowded area. But the coast was very dangerous because of its rocky peaks. Dangerous with rocks. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks. The narrator is trying to explain that the sea beach, okay, where Dr. Sadao Hockey house was situated, is not safe. Why? Because the sea shore was rocky, and if the gusty waves are moving there, and if a fisherman washed or flung from his boat, it is sure and certain that the man would be wounded, dangerously hurt, damaged. So this is the things he is trying to explain. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks. Somehow the man had managed to come through them. He must be badly torn, must be badly wounded, okay, because of the rocky beach. They saw when they came towards him that indeed it was so. The sand on one side of him had already a stain of red soaking through. Means they could see that the blood was coming out of his body, and the sand had soaked some of it. He is wounded, Sadao exclaimed. He made haste to the man. He just ran fast, who lay motionless, was fainted there, his face in the sand, an old cap stuck to his head, soaked with sea water. Means he was totally drenched. He was in wet rags of garments. A rags refers to that he has worn the clothes, okay, for a long time. Sadao stopped Hannah at his side and turned the man's head, and now they are trying to turn the man so that they could see the face of the man. They saw the face, a white man, and this is the problem. White man, Hannah whispered. Yes, it was a white man. The wet cap fell away when they turned the motionless body or fainted body of the man. They could see that the man is white, and they easily or quickly concluded that this is an American, because they had been living once, okay, in America for their academics pursuit, for their doctorate degree. So they were familiar with the appearance and colors. And now see, the wet cap fell away, and there was his wet yellow hair, long as though for many weeks it had not been cut, This is the plight of that army, wounded army or navy man. And upon his young and tortured face was a rough yellow beard. This is shows his appearance, okay? Or he was unconscious and knew nothing that they did for him. The man was fainted, unconscious. Now Dr. Sadav remembered the wound was trained, okay. Dr. Sadav Hockey was trained for the same wound, the same disease, okay, same kind of patients. So he knew, okay, remembered everything, and with his expert fingers, he began to search for it. Blood flowed freshly at his touch. On the right side of his lower back, Sadav saw that a gun wound had been, reopened. Means the man was shot. The flesh was blackened. This was the condition of the flesh with powder. Sometime, not many days ago, the man had been shot and had not been tended. It was bad chance, okay, that the rock had struck the wounded. The wound. Oh, how he is bleeding. Hannah whispered again in a solemn voice. This shows their mercy and kindness. The mist screened them, okay, knew completely, and at this time of day no one came by. Means it was the evening time, okay, and the mist has completely covered everything. The fisherman had gone home, and even the chance beachcombers, okay, the guards, would have considered the day at an end, and now there was no one was there. What shall we do with this man? Sadav muttered. Means it was a case of, uh, of an enemy. So he murdered. This shows that he was irritated and completely annoyed. And now see why he was irritated and annoyed. But his trained hand seemed of their own willing what they could do, what they could to stanch the fearful bleeding. Means he was trained for the same, okay, disease, same patient. So he was just willing to just operate the wounded man as soon as possible. And his hands were unstoppable. Means the hands were just coming out in order to operate. He packed. Will Dr. Sadao be arrested? Packed means he might have taken some moss, okay, from the sea and just cover the wound so that the blood stopped. Will Dr. Sadao be arrested on the charge of harboring an enemy? The wound with the sea, this will just see. With the sea moss that touched the beach, the man moaned with pain in his jaw, but he did not awaken. This shows his face, a kind of moan. The best thing that we could do would be to put him back in the sea. This was Dr. Sadao said. And why he was thinking like that? Because he was totally afraid of the presence of that wounded enemy. Because he was an American, and America and Japan were fighting together in World War II. And that's why Japan was the enemy of America, and America was the enemy of Japan. Shadao said, answering himself. Now that the bleeding was stopped for the moment, he stood up and dusted the sand from his hands. And now he has decided. Yes, undoubtedly, that would be best, Hannah said steadily. But she continued to stare down at the motionless man. But she was unable to shift her attention from the wounded man. And this shows that they were completely in affectionate or kind towards that wounded man. This was not their patriotism, but it was their humanity that were forcing them to take care of that wounded enemy without thinking of its nationality, okay, and its nature. if we sheltered a white man in our house, we should be arrested. And if we returned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die, Dr. Sadao said. This was the dilemma, this was the problem of Dr. Sadao, in which he was completely stuck in it. What was the problem? The problem was he is telling that if we will try to operate, try to take care of, try to shelter the wounded man in our house, we will be captured. Our whole things will be captured by the Japanese and will be declared traitor. And if we will leave this man here and report to the police, this man will die. So one time the narrator was thinking about the sense of patriotism. The another time he was thinking the sense of humanity. So which one is better? You will think, okay. And according to Dr. Sadao Hockey, which was best, he finally decided, okay. And then that we will see in the next paragraph. You will read this whole story, okay, and will write the whole story in points or explain the story in your own words. Don't write summary that what happens, this, that. You just give your own thoughts also, that what Dr. Sadao Hockey write, what was their approach, why they did so. Means you also focus your own point of view, the action and the activity, okay, and just explain this story in 200 words. Thank you very much. All the best. God bless you all.